We live in a world ruled by tyranny, where knowledge is suppressed and ignorance is glorified. A world where propaganda and misinformation travel the airways at the speed of lies. But in the midst of the violence and chaos, a great awakening is taking place. And as the media empires continue to collapse, a new network is forming. A network of truth, a network of courage, a network of awareness. Peace and greetings. You are now tuned into the Network of Awareness podcast radio station, where we examine current events, politics, health, finance, and topics of cultural relevance in America and throughout the world, while bringing you insightful interviews with guests that will both educate and inspire you. And now, your host of the Network of Awareness podcast radio station, ORRA the Informationalist.
Welcome to the Network of Awareness. And in today's presentation, we will go over the mind is mightier than the sword, the power of perceptions and false narratives. Perceptions are subjective expressions that are formed from individual interpretations of the world around us. They are based on the beliefs and values that we have been exposed to throughout our lives, as well as our own personal experiences. Perceptions can be realized individually and collectively and are often used to inform decisions and shape opinions. False narratives have misguided people's perceptions for thousands of years till present day and can also be used to spread false information about certain products or services or beliefs. This type of false narrative can be used to deceive people into buying a product or service or buying into an idea that is not as beneficial as it is portrayed to be. This type of false narrative can lead to people making bad financial decisions, personal life-changing mistakes, and wasting their money. False narratives can also be used to spread false information about certain scientific or medical topics. This type of false narrative can lead to people believing in the things that are not true, such as the safety of certain products or treatments. For example, the vaccine and how it would ultimately prevent in acquiring an artificial disease. This type of false narrative can lead to people making decisions that are not in their best interest. One could explore how perceptions are manipulated by false narratives when it comes to religion, science, humanity, nature, doctrines, health, and other constructs that have influenced human behavior for millennia. By examining various examples of false narratives, one can gain insight into how these narratives shape our perceptions and ultimately our beliefs. For example, one can explore how false narratives about science have been used to manipulate public opinion and create a false sense of knowledge. Additionally, one can explore how false narratives about religion have been used to create divisions between people and to spread intolerance. By examining these examples, one can gain a better understanding of how false narratives can shape our perceptions and ultimately our beliefs. False narratives about religion have been used to create divisions between people and to spread narrow-mindedness for centuries. In the past, these false narratives have been used to justify wars, oppression, and discrimination. For example, During the Crusades, Christians used false narratives about Islam to justify their wars against the Muslims. This false narrative claimed that the Muslims were an evil and dangerous people, and that it was necessary to fight them to protect Christianity. Similarly, during the Spanish Inquisition, false narratives about Jews and other religious minorities were used to justify their persecution and oppression. False narratives have the power to shape our perceptions and ultimately our beliefs. False narratives can be created intentionally or unintentionally, and they can be spread through various forms of media, such as television, radio, and the internet. Through these false narratives, people can be persuaded to believe certain things that are not true, and this could lead people to forming opinions and making decisions based on false information and half-truths. False narratives can be used to manipulate public opinion and shape the way people think about certain topics. For example, false narratives about certain political candidates can be used to sway people's votes. False narratives can also be used to spread fear and hatred about certain groups of people, such as immigrants or people of a certain race or religion. This type of false narrative can lead to the dehumanization of certain groups of people, which can lead to violence and discrimination. Therefore, it is the lie that keeps on giving, because once the seed of the lie is planted into the subconscious mind of an individual, they will ultimately behave in alignment with the lie while being unconscious of it. False narratives about religion have also been used to spread the intolerance and hatred between different religious groups. For example, false narratives about Islam have been used to create a sense of fear and distrust amongst non-Muslims. These false narratives have portrayed Muslims as violent, radical, and oppressive, and have been used to justify discrimination and violence against them. Also, false narratives about Christianity have been used to create a sense of distrust and animosity towards non-Christians. These false narratives have portrayed Christians as intolerant and bigoted, and have been used to create a sense of superiority among Christians. In both cases, these false narratives have had a damaging effect on the interreligious relations. They have created divisions between people and have spread intolerance and narrow-mindedness and hatred. And as a result, it is important to be aware of the false narratives that are spread about different religions, and to be mindful of the potential impact that these narratives can have on the human mind. Religious doctrines are also manipulated and interpreted by their believers in a way that skews their perceptions of the world around them. This is due to the egotistical and manipulated interpretations of the doctrines, which can lead to a sense of overwhelming self-righteous indignation. Believers often take the doctrines and twist them to fit their personal beliefs, which can lead to a distorted view of reality. For example, some believers may interpret certain passages of the religious text as a justification for their own prejudices and views, even if those views conflict with the teachings of the text. This can lead to a sense of superiority, as the believer feels that their views are more valid than those of others. Furthermore, religious doctrines can be used to manipulate people and to condemn them because of their behavior and certain actions. This manipulation can lead to a lot of misinterpretation, misinformation, and ultimately lead people astray from what is true. This can be done by using doctrines to encourage certain behaviors and condemn certain actions. This manipulation could lead to a skewed perception of the world, as the behavior to the believer is encouraged and to think and act in a certain way. This can lead to an atmosphere of intolerance, as the believer may feel that their views are the only valid ones and that anyone who disagrees is wrong. And additionally, this manipulation can lead to an attitude of superiority, as the believer may feel that their viewers are the only ones that are valid and that any other views are inferior. Perceptions of people's reality can have both a positive and and negative effect on their lives. On the positive side, people may be motivated to work hard and strive for success when they have a positive outlook on life. For example, if they believe that they can achieve their dreams, they may be more likely to put in the effort to make those dreams a reality. Alternatively, a negative perception of reality can lead to feelings of hopelessness and despair, which can lead to a lack of motivation and a lack of effort to improve one's life. This can lead to a cycle of negative thinking and a behavior that can be difficult to break out of. On the other hand, a positive perception of one's reality can lead to a sense of optimism and hope, which can lead to a greater motivation and effort to achieve one's goals. This can lead to a cycle of positive thinking and behavior, which can be beneficial for both mental, physical, and spiritual health. Additionally, a positive perception of reality can lead to the increased self-confidence and self-esteem, which can lead to greater success in life. In conclusion, a positive perception could lead to increased motivation and effort, while a negative perception could lead to the feelings of hopelessness and despair. It is important to be mindful of one's thoughts and perceptions in order to create an abundant quality of life that is righteously in order with the spiritual being having the physical experience. Thank you for listening, and for more information, go to the description box and go to networkofawareness.com/blog to get the full article that I wrote on the website to get a better understanding of the mind is mightier than the sword, perceptions and false narratives. Thank you. Peace and blessings, and may the force of the Most High stay with you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Network of Awareness. If you would like to join or find out more about our show, please subscribe and follow us at networkofawareness.com or your favorite podcast listening platforms. If you would like for us to discuss any specific topic you would like to listen to, leave us a message on our website, or you can directly email us at ORRA@networkofawareness.com. Now, tune in to one of the fastest growing podcast shows on social, spiritual, and self-awareness. With that being said, people, living in the present, being directed by what's given in the hour-long sessions, mind-blowing confessions of improvement that needs checking. Welcoming all ears, tuning out, peace and blessings.